My name is Erin Rumley. Today is Monday, November 23rd, and we're going to be looking at the AES performance for today, Monday, November 23rd. Now, we're in the holiday week, and sometimes when we start to get into these holiday weeks where the markets are closed, we tend to have a little bit more of a choppy period. That is actually what happened today. We were very flat here, leading right into market open, had a little bit of a push higher, and then saw this move lower that eventually we moved all the way lower. We continued its movement lower, but then we got stuck in a sideways pattern. And that seemed to be the pattern today. Even when we were trending, we ended up getting into a sideways pattern and then continuing the trend. And then here we just were in a very much sideways pattern, barely drifted higher, then ended up moving a little bit higher, but then not seeing anything progress for quite some time. Keep in mind, each bar here is 5 minutes. So from about 12:20 to 12:50, so about half an hour, we just stayed in this very tight, about a 10-point range in here. And then we moved up, and then we continued in our tight range, moved down again in that sideways range. So a little bit less action that we were seeing today. We did have a couple abrupt movements that came out of nowhere. I know one was pre-market right here at 8:40, ended up moving down pretty substantially on that bar, especially for it being a pre-market bar. And then here we were stuck in our range. Then all of a sudden we popped to the upside and then continued to move higher. So these are our AES signals. C is for consensus, T is trend bias, T plus is a continuation of the trend bias, and M is momentum. We track these signals throughout the day. We actually track from 3 a.m. to when we close, which is generally about 3:30 p.m. So there's about 12 hours of tracking that we do a day. Most of the signals, though, that we focus on are from 7 a.m. forward. I know a lot of you like to take a shot of a look at what the signals were throughout the day. So here's first one was a fractal trade at 7:02, but the first AES signal was a trend bias at 7:05, and then going on until our last trade, which was at 3:15, a short momentum signal. And we'll go over to the daily summary to just have it summarized a little bit better here. These two dark green categories are the categories that are in our personal trading plan. We highly encourage you to update your personal trading plan during the market day and especially after you are done trading for the day. Why would you update it during the market day? Because it'll help you know if you should stop trading for the day. If you're close to your goal, plug it in, see where you are in 12 months, and that will give you an idea of whether you want to stop for the day. So the first category we track is 9:30 to noon, all signals. This means every single AES signals. It does not include any fractal trades. So fractals are a little bit of a bonus if you continue, if you're trading fractals in addition to the AES signals, the adaptive entry system signals. So 9:30 to noon, this is for a limited amount of trading. We average about 18, almost 18 and a quarter points a day. Today, we ended up losing 30 points on that. We'll see how that affects our trading plan because we do have Monday set on our personal trading plan as a losing day. So we'll see how that affects things. The other signals that we track, the other strategy really that we track is 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. So this is more all day trading. Just trend bias, so just the trend signals and the continuation. So that would be these T signals that come on with the second blue bar or the second red bar. And then the T plus, the continuation of the trend. Once you're out of that initial trend bias entry, you're looking for that continuation of the trend to jump back in to the trending market. And so from 7 to 4, trend bias and continuations, locking in 10 points. That's what the TB plus 10 is, locking in 10 points. You're not holding for the full cycle. You'll, of course, look to lock in 5 points first, and then if it hits 10 points, you're out for 10 points. It's exactly what we also do for the 9:30 to noon category. We have a bracket order that immediately sends a stop at a 20-point stop and a limit order at a 10-point profit limit order. And then once we get past 5 points of profit, we look to place our stop at 5 points. Sometimes it comes back and takes us out for 5 points. Other times it continues on and we end up with 10 points. So depends on how the market moves. You can see there's a couple 10-pointers in here surrounded by some 5-pointers. All of the signals, including fractals, are traded the same way. Once we get past 5 points of profit, we put our stop at 5 points. So that generally means when we hit about 5.5 points of profit, we put our stop at 5 points. Sometimes it comes back and takes us out. Other times it continues on to our 10-point limit order for a 10-point profit instead. And then we also like to highlight the 7 to 4 all signals, which is trading every signal, every AES signal. This one had a losing day today, of course, but then Friday we had a 61.5 points profit. So, and then a couple days prior, 60 points. So of course there's some net overall. That strategy averages over 55 points a day. And then so let's take a look here at our personal trading plan. So we'll start with the 9:30 to noon. So this is the 9:30 to noon all signals. Now we have assumed we were going to take a losing day. It's not because we knew that the market was going to be choppy today or anything like that. It just so happens that it's a Monday and it's a losing day. We have this factoring one losing day per week, and we just happen to have it occur on a Monday. And so that's for the whole personal trading plan. The amount of the losing day is based on what our averages have been so far. And let's be clear, this is not a straight average. It is taking the average of all of the losing days, but then it weights it so that it equates to one losing day per week. We've had 31 losing days in our 20 weeks. So we're over one losing day per week. And that's why we weight this number so that it is more accurate. And then it's a variable so that as we continue to trade, as the amount of losing days per weeks change, this will affect that losing day number as well. Just like the winning day number then is the average of all of the winning days, but then weighted for 4 winning days a week, because that's what we have programmed in here. So we had expected, or we had estimated for a losing day today, 33.28 points. Now we're gross down 30 points today. So let's go over here and plug that in. Actually, let's try to make a mental note here. So we'll look at the 12-month forecast just to see how that changes. So it's at 194,716. And then we'll go in and plug our today's performance in. So again, we lost 30 points today. We are currently trading 3 contracts and it's $20 a point. So we have 30 points that we lost on, $20 a point, and 3 contracts. That's minus 1,800. And then we need to fill in how many trades we made. There were 8 trades, but again, 3 contracts. So that's going to be 24. So that gives us our net number, which is going to be turned into points, of losing 31.6 points, which is less than what we had forecasted. So we plugged in our actual. We can see that our averages have changed a little bit here. We have, for our losing days, plug in 34.51. And then our winning days changed just a little bit, 24.34. So what's great is that this doesn't affect our 12-month forecast significantly. We were at 194,716. Then we plugged in today's number and we're at 190,686. So We are still on target to be over 190,000 12-month forecast. This is again starting with a $5,000 account. We're already up to a $67,000 balance on the account, almost $68,000. And we're using our actual run rate to project then the 12-month forecast, which is at over 190,000. Again, only starting with a $5,000 account and never trading more than 3 contracts at a time. And then let's go over to our more all day trading, where it's from 7 to 4, trend bias and continuation signals. So again, we had forecasted a losing day for today, down 33, almost 33.5 points. We did have a losing day, but it was only 8 points that we lost. So that's going to be a bit of a change here. So again, we'll just remember where the 12-month forecast is, because I think it's personally interesting to see how it changes as we continue to record our data. And what's very interesting, in my opinion, is that the more data that we get in here, and as we continue to adjust our averages for the forecast, the less we really see this 12-month forecast change significantly. In the beginning, of course, it did as you started to record your trades with your actual versus your forecasted. But now, with the fact that we continue to adjust our forecast here with our actual run rate, we don't see too much difference with our 12-month forecast. So let's go in and fill out today for the 7 to 4 trend bias and continuation signals. So we had lost 8 points, $20 a point, and we're trading 3 contracts. So we lost $480. So not too bad, especially with Friday making over $2,000. The amount of trades we made were 16, but again, we're trading 3 contracts, so 48 trades. Happens to be the exact same on the amount of contracts on Friday. So that is our net loss then, is 11, almost 11.25 points here. So let's see how our averages change a little bit. So our loss or losing day is 33.79. Winning day is 32.74. So we went from a 12-month forecast of 299,600 to 200 and almost 298,000. So really not much of a difference here, especially when we're talking about almost a $300,000 number. And this again is starting with just a $5,000 account. You can see that the account balance is already over $100,000. So what we're doing, same we are for the other version of the personal trading plan, is that we continue to update with our actual performance, continue to update our forecast as well to be as realistic as possible, to get an idea of what our 12-month forecast could be. And we're just under 300,000. That's again starting with a $5,000 account, scaling up to 3 contracts, but not trading more than 3 contracts. And of course, at the beginning, if you were here in the beginning, you know that we never traded more than 10% of our account balance. So very conservative way to trade and conservative way to scale contracts as well. We have not added more than 3 contracts. So we're at much less than 10% of the balance of how much we're risking or how much we're investing here on this category and the prior category as well. You could actually take money out at this point and still be able to trade 3 contracts. That's the great part of this personal trading plan. You can use the funds plus minus to either add funds or subtract funds. Let's say you wanted to make a purchase and you decided to take out 20,000. You can even play around with that number in here, plug that number in, and then see if it affects your amount of contracts that you're trading, if you're still looking to stay 10% of the balance. And so taking 20,000 out, still able to trade 3 contracts. Now, if we take 100,000 out, then it's going to set us back to one contract because that is 10% of the account balance. But then quickly we can go back up to 2 and then back up to 3. So it also is going to change your 12-month forecast by a bit because you're not going to have as much invested. But there is the flexibility on this personal trading plan to add, subtract funds, to take out for what you need and still be able to have a projection for your 12-month forecast. So we had projected for a losing day. We had really allowed for a losing day today, and that's what happened on both the accounts or both of the strategies that we are currently tracking on our personal trading plan. And then now what we're looking for is we'll continue to update this throughout the week. When we get to Thursday and Friday, we won't have a review because we are not going to be open those days. Thursday, the market is closed, so we can even move ahead. I don't want to confuse anybody, but if you have your own personal trading plan, you can just put 0 for the contracts on Thursday. You don't need to do anything else, and it will zero out that day. So that's not something I'm going to necessarily do right now. I just don't want to confuse anybody. But when we come back on Monday, that's what will happen. There will be a 0 next to Thursday because the market was closed on Thursday. So the current balance of the account you can see is right here in the balance column. And it's at 109,405. So that's the current balance. This in the yellow box up here is you can plug in a date and it will tell you what the projected balance will be on that day. So on December 30th, it's 142,484. So that's the December 30th projection is what that will be. And then the 12-month projection is right here at that 297, well, basically 298, 298,000. Okay, so we'll hope for a little bit better day tomorrow. But again, we factor in a losing day. It's very realistic to factor in a losing day. And we have one factor in every single week. Today happened to be that losing day. We'll see how the rest of the week performs and go over that on the next AES performance review.